Texture in it, like my natural hair, which always drove me crazy because it felt unkempt. I don't know, like what Merced looks like right now.
I
Fucking Albert Einstein over here.
I haven't had a haircut in I think like a year and a half now, or no, about a year and like 2 months or something.
Nice.
So I'm way overdue.
Yeah, man.
I don't give a fuck anymore.
Good. Yeah, you gotta start tying it up. That's actually when you like when you start applying to jobs, when you get your programming certs sorted out, you start applying to jobs. If your hair isn't tied up into some kind of bun or ponytail, they actually just reject you on the spot.
Yeah, they shoot you into the sun in the tech industry.
Yeah, they kill you. They actually give you a business job. If your hair's not in a ponytail or a bun, they assign you to the sales department.
This guy can't code. So, apparently 13th and 14th Gen i5s are the same price. The price difference is like $4.
Yeah, they never... Actually, honestly, you are like a week or two late because Prime was doing a bunch of deals for Prime Day on 13th Gen.
Yeah, it's okay. This isn't going to be like a... we're not doing this within the week. I even told him, I was like, honestly, like, this is just going to be a matter of patience. That's what I told him.
You know, here's the scariest part about this, though. Let me just paint you a picture, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Your dad asks you to buy and build him a computer.
It can be pre-built too, but...
Okay, sure.
For
Could be a pre-built. Yeah. Let's just say you take full responsibility for that. That means from now until one of you dies, he will be calling you every day to do something. If something is wrong, you'll be in there. You'll be in the computer's guts every day.
He already does, brother. Don't worry. That's a part of being a son.
Yeah, that's fair.
The moment you touch that thing and fix it one time, that means every subsequent problem that has to do with that computer
that's fair.
Had to do with the first time you ever fucking touched it.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Just get him a laptop is what I'm saying. Get him a Chromebook.
I remember
he has a laptop.
Okay.
He likes a desktop. He's a Chad.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know why I thought he might be a laptop kind of guy. That's why I even brought it up earlier. His
desktop. It's his office.
Fair enough.
That's like that shit feels cool as fuck.
Yeah, fair enough. I remember back in the day when I was like really, really young. I don't even know how old, like super, super young. My grandma was the only person in my family that had or could afford a computer at that point. And then eventually, everybody had one. But yeah, I remember vividly. This is like pre even like the AOL free discs at Walmart, like very, very young, early computery days where they're starting to be everywhere. And only thing you could even do on it was like Minesweeper and Solitaire, and that is like it. I don't even think it had Paint. I don't even know if this was Windows 95. Like, I have no idea, or whatever the fuck it was, but it was old as shit. And I just remember I got on it to do like Minesweeper or Solitaire, like my grandma let me do. And this one time she started having issues with it, and she calls up my mom, on the good old home phone, and is like going on this whole thing about how I must have done something to fuck up the computer because now it's not acting right. And all I did was, play the Minesweeper or Solitaire. And then from that moment, literally kind of what Merced is talking about almost, I had to like try and figure out what was wrong with it, help. And then after that, it was like, I was that guy.
That
if anything went wrong, it was probably somehow related to me having touched it, and then I had to somehow also figure it out.
I mean, on a long enough timeline, it is true that a child will destroy a computer.
That's possible.
I definitely fucked some things up on the family computer by like downloading
100%.
random shit that, like especially when I first got into torrenting, because when you're like 10, you have no money, but you're old enough to acknowledge that there's a lot of video games and movies out there. So just torrenting shit like crazy. I remember LimeWire was like the bane of the family computer, because like the minute you downloaded LimeWire and you wanted Linkin Park Numb X Jay-Z remix, whatever, and then you opened it and it turned out it was like a horrible virus. That shit was super rad. So your grandmother is not entirely wrong to accuse you, but I feel like at that age you were probably not quite spending enough time with the computer to have fucked it up yet.
There was I can admit I did sort of the things, the more questionable things that would affect maybe a computer at school, but at home on my mom's computer or my grandma's computer or any other family computer, no. That was like I didn't want to get caught. I don't want to get in trouble. When I was a little boy, I had the actual fear of God in me, and my family was also like pretty physically abusive if you were to like get disciplined, so it was like, I didn't want to ever get in trouble basically. And no, but at school, dude, oh my God, I don't even remember what I did exactly, but I know for sure I literally got a computer like ruined somehow and never got caught for it. I think I took like magnets to it, which is unrelated to anything like torrenting and stuff. I think I was just literally curious because I had heard don't put magnets near computers, and I'm like, oh, but why not?
What happens?
It fucked it up.
What happens? Do they restart?
Do they explode?
I was thinking about that the other day, how we grew up in the last time where it was still morally right to hit your children. I was thinking about that, like we were really the last group of children who were like not only allowed to be hit, but like it was somewhat encouraged still.
We were probably like
at
max, we were probably like a few years before the door closed.
Yeah,
at max.
Yeah, we were right on the edge there. Yeah. We took one for the team.
Yeah, one of my coworkers like told me she beats her kids when they do wrong, and I was like, I didn't even know how to respond. I was like, "Are you serious?"
It like, really just it comes off as like barbaric. It's like, yeah, if they do something wrong, I hit them. It's like, oh, that's really smart. I like the way you think. That's like, holy shit, we got a Mensa application right here.
It's very unga bunga to like the minute something upsets you, you just start hitting it.
You don't try to explain it to them first. I hit them.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Is there, by that logic, is there like a 3 strikes system where you're like, I tried explaining to him 3 times and after that he's not getting it. So
at some point, am I right?
Oh, God.
I would say like 5. 5, and then that's when like the nudging starts.
Okay, sure. All right.
If they don't get that,
I remember this one time, this is such a stupid tangent, but while we're on the topic of kids being beaten and it being really dumb, I remember this one time my mom beat the shit out of me for in my opinion, the stupidest thing ever. And she didn't explain what I did wrong. And it took me a little while to like even kind of fully understand it myself because I was a kid. But I'm pretty sure I understand. But so basically we're all at the beach visiting Florida, while I lived in Alabama at the time, visiting Florida. And before I had moved to Panama City. So this is like before I was in 5th grade. So super, super young. We're visiting the beach. My cousin Braxton is there. He's like super, super young. He's born in 2001. So he had to be like 2 or 3, like basically a fucking baby. Right. And he did something or was annoying the shit out of me maybe even the whole day.
That's a southern ass name.
Yeah, he's being super, super annoying basically the whole day, and I'm over it. And I just remember like walking away from him and like going and sitting next to my mom and his mom and going, man, I just hate him sometimes. And that was it. And my mom literally said, what did you just say? I was like, I just hate him sometimes. And she took me all the way home to the hotel while everyone else stayed at the beach, beat the shit out of me and said, don't you ever say that again. And I was like, what the fuck? I didn't mean it like literally, dude. I was just frustrated. And I didn't mean like I literally hate him. Like,
damn, dude. Yeah.
And it was just the stupidest thing to me. I was like, is this really the solution? Like, couldn't you just be like, hey, don't say that? You might hurt his feelings.
That happened to my sister. She said, my sister said she hated my mom and my mom beat the fuck out of her. It's like,
yeah,
deserved, bitch.
I guess. I just, was ridiculous.
Yeah, we got some different techniques now. I think
using words.
It's crazy. It's crazy how
patch.
Technology has allowed us to just talk to our children instead of beating them. Yeah, it's I'm sure on some level there is like, I mean, I don't know. I maybe it's hard to say culturally where things are. You know what I mean? Like, is it just because like in the US, like especially in the South, it may still be, I mean, I haven't lived in the South in a while, but it might still be a thing that people hit their children. I have no idea. But up here, people are deathly afraid. I think it's like equal parts we know better now, and we're afraid of being put on social media that we beat
reprimanded.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Like people are too afraid to hit their kids in public these days but you saw that shit all the time. Like it was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think now they just take their iPad away or block Skibbity toilet videos. And that's
the thing that would always work the best with me, even is like my mom would take my video game away. And I'm like, okay, dude, I'm not going to do that ever again. You're taking my shit away for a week. I'm going to freaking KMS. This is horrible.
That was serious fucking business. Yeah. I remember the day Modern Warfare 1 came out. So 2007. So I was like 12, I guess. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. Modern Warfare 1 came out. I happened to be still grounded from some other unrelated, like, from some punishment. And I was like dying, like just fucking lose. Like I just couldn't fathom that Modern Warfare 1 was out. And we had it, like it had been pre-ordered. Like it was ready to go, but I couldn't.
That's fucking torture.
But I could not play it. And that was I'm not sure that I'm on like that I agree with Crossley and that it fixed me, but it definitely
mentally damaged.
It definitely damaged me somehow. I have no idea. But yeah.
Dude, Modern Warfare 1, that's one to miss, bro. Like the global experience of.
Yeah, I know. I think I had to play it like the next day or something, like day 2. I was like,
luckily it wasn't like Modern Warfare 1 wasn't as bad as like the odd fever dream of coming to school when Modern Warfare 2 came out and all of a sudden everyone apparently plays video games.
Yeah,
I don't know if you had that experience, but I definitely had that experience where
I think we knew each other then, didn't we?
Yeah, for sure. This was what was 2011, 2010. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. 2010
or 2009 actually. Sorry, because it was 2 years.
Oh.
So 7 to 9. Yeah.
Huh. But yeah, I remember coming to school and then like all of a sudden everyone's talking about like fucking Modern Warfare.
Dude, it started.
It's like, holy shit. Yeah, like everyone fucking plays video games here and nobody fucking said anything until just now.
It's like, already started, dude. If you Google Modern Warfare 2, the new one comes up. It's begun. No. It's begun. But yes, 2009.
Yeah, I don't know, Merced. I feel like we did a great job at surrounding ourselves with video game people way prior to that.
I'm talking about like it was
just random people.
It was literally entire cliques of people that existed far away from you that you thought were like sports playing people or like, you know what I'm saying? Like the normal high school clicky stuff.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden this was a conversation that you could have with literally fucking anyone.
Yeah.
Like any dude was like,
suddenly
of course
everybody knew.
Of course I know my KD. Like
everybody knew what martyrdom was. Everybody knew what, you know, like it definitely had a weird effect on like just realizing, oh, like video games are huge now in a way that, you know, I didn't think they were for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting. I think it kind of almost really like started peaking there, but what a time to be alive was the Modern Warfare 2 era, because that's the first Call of Duty I played. I was like, I don't fuck with this shit. Until that one, I was like, you know what, that shit looks cool, and I was all in. And I mean, you know, we played the fuck out of that game, but I think it really like started almost with like Xbox One and Halo 1, and then just sort of like each Halo was more of that thing you're kind of talking about, where like normies are like suddenly a gamer and I can talk to them about Halo things.
It was
that was a big one too. Yeah, but
it was definitely
even if they don't know what like Shadow of the Colossus or Okami are, they know what Halo is. And that was definitely, you know, it's interesting how like Xbox sort of owned that for so long, even with Modern Warfare 2, which is a multi-platform game. Everyone I knew and fucked with was playing it on 360.
Yeah.
And then it's also funny how that shifted to PS4 like overnight.
Yeah.
And like that became the fucking normie console. Like everyone's playing shit on this now. Destiny, et cetera, et cetera. Like,
what was it that caused in the Xbox One PS4 era? What caused Microsoft to drop the ball so hard?
When they first
in the PS4 Xbox One era, it was literally the entire E3, that first E3 presentation where they revealed the Xbox One.
Yep.
They focused entirely on TV and movies and Kinect, which were all of the things that people did not want. And they said that got the thing that haunted them for years afterwards is that they were going to start restricting the sale of used games. They were like, yeah, used games aren't going to work on Xbox consoles.
Once you buy a game and put it,
I don't know how I don't remember this.
It will no longer work on any other.
It's registered to your console.
Yeah, they were trying to make it like PC games, basically.
And then another thing they were pushing really hard, and I think they've actually tried this again, but just not as loudly. But another thing they were pushing was that the Xbox would basically only function if it was online. If you were offline, you wouldn't, I think, be able to play disc games. It was some weirdo shit.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, it was online only. And the used game thing totally killed any momentum they had. Even like, and I remember it was a slam dunk because the same day of this announcement, Sony put out a video where they were like, here's how you exchange used games on the PlayStation 4.
I remember,
and it was literally just a guy handing a guy another disc, and then him going "thank you," and then that was the whole thing.
Yeah,
and I mean, it was,
I remember that.
From that day on, it was done, dude. It was totally done.
Like,
yeah,
Sony had like Destiny locked in, and all these other
launch,
like things locked in, and they were just
maybe it wasn't launched
on the fucking games, and all the games looked good shortly after Bloodborne came out too, and fucking like just dominated gamers' brains. They just like killed it for the first couple years.
Wow, no, Destiny was a year after. Yeah, because I remember. I
think launch was weak for both platforms.
It was extremely weak. Yeah, and I remember like I remember actually kind of feeling shitty because I felt like Xbox's launch was slightly better. Because, like, I mean, the one thing, most of the good games were multi-platform anyway. But, like...
I remember you you got an Xbox One on launch, right?
No, I got one about a year after launch.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a little less, maybe 6 months. But yeah, I got one when they did that first sale, because they released the Slim, like, not even a year later, and I got one then.
Because you were the only person I knew that had an Xbox One whenever you got one.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice, that's for sure. I remember like I really just did it because at that time it's easy to forget now, but at that time games were not coming to PC still from like console platforms. So like Halo, I was like I want to play Halo, and this is the way to do it. So I got an Xbox. I mean, funnily enough, they did not end up releasing a Halo game for another year or two. But
yeah, I remember playing that Halo at B Paul's, and I think Tran was the one with the consoles because I definitely wasn't buying them. Yeah, and I think Tran had the PS4 too. And what was the game? What was the game?
Okay,
that was like playable at launch.
Here we go. Confirmed day one game. So this is funny because this is the IGN article, like written at the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, these are the games that will be released on November 15th, 2013, when the PS4 comes out. Okay. All right. Angry Birds Star Wars, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Battlefield 4, Blacklight Retribution, which I remember that being a beta thing, kind of sucked. It was like a free. It was like one of the earliest examples of
good, and then it wasn't.
It was
I remember playing it and enjoying that game.
It was a free to play shooter. I remember. Call of Duty Ghosts, Contrast, DC Universe Online, Dive Kick, FIFA 14, Flower, which was already out on PS3. I'm pretty sure some of these were already out.
Yes.
Injustice: Gods Among Us, Just Dance 2014, Killzone Shadowfall. That game sucks. Knack. That game also sucks. Lego Marvel Superheroes, Madden 25, NBA 2K14, NBA Live 14, Need for Speed Rivals. That game's all right. Playroom, Resogun, which was great.
Yes.
Skylanders Swap Force, Sound Shapes, Super Motherload, Trine 2, and Warframe.
Wow.
I can't believe we're still talking about Warframe and it's been over 10 years.
They did it.
They did do it. That is true.
They're one of the only companies that built that live service type game and actually stuck with it for however many years it's been now. So it paid off.
And I mean, say what you will about it. Like if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's definitely not like hella my thing. I can play it for maybe about like 30 minutes to an hour before I'm like, okay. But it is like well made and feels really good. And I could easily see why it's so fucking popular and has lived through the years, because it is just like a quality product for what it is. Like
it's basically Remnant, just less attuned to the things that I like. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Once you get the traversal mechanics down, dude, that shit's so fun.
Really quickly,
but it's like
I'm gonna run through the Xbox One ones. I'm just gonna say the big ones for this, or the ones that would be notable, I guess.
Sure.
A lot of them are the same. So obviously Battlefield, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, all those are the same. Crimson Dragon, which I remember people being excited for some reason.
I remember that.
Dead Rising 3, which was a really good game. Actually, Dead Rising 3, it was the first Dead Rising I personally had fun with, which I know is like a thing that people are not allowed to say.
That's kind of crazy.
But I did not like any of the other ones because Dead Rising 3 still had the timer, but they kind of changed the structure of how the timer worked a little bit. So like it wasn't like a constant thing that was like ticking down in the top right. You just had a certain number of days, basically, instead of having like a permanent timer that was just like always looming over you. Yeah. Forza Motorsport 5. It's a good game. And then all the sports games are the same. And then here we go. A game I've been thinking about a lot recently, and I totally forgot that it was a launch title. Rise, Son of Rome.
I knew you were going to say Rise. Was this a good game?
I liked it. I liked it. And I was thinking about it because I saw some footage from it the other day. That game looks fucking amazing still. It is one of the most graphically impressive games I think that like exists. I mean, I think it really was ahead of its time. It was punching way above its weight class. Now, to be fair, it was a very linear third-person game, but like it looks really good still. It's kind of crazy. I might replay it just to see. It came out on PC. See, that was the thing. Also, all of these games were 30 FPS, so automatically less enjoyable. But yeah. What a time, dude. What a time. Not very I don't know. Not a good generation, in my opinion. I felt like the PS4, Xbox One generation in general, I found myself enjoying games like less than usual overall. Like a lot of the directions that the industry headed in terms of game design.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that was the generation of the movie game sprouting up, basically.
Which, I mean, if anything, that one appeals to me slightly more, but I'm talking more about like how everything became open world. Everything became, fill up the map with icons and let's get to it.
It's just
or free to play.
I don't know. I think the 360 era is way more guilty of stuff I didn't like and all doing the same thing, being sandboxes. That was the thing then. It's like, let's all make our GTA City square and put a game inside it.
I thought
there's so many games that just tried to make like a big open sandboxy kind of like map and then put a game in it, and they were all fucking bad. But
oh man,
except Prototype.
Prototype. You thought Prototype was bad? That game's fine.
No, I said except Prototype.
Oh, except Prototype. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. In the Prototype Infamous Wars, you were a Prototype man, huh?
No, I like Infamous more, but I think Prototype got a bad rap.
It definitely did get a bad rap. Yeah, I mean, it was like a
Prototype 2. I don't know, but
I mean, it's funny. The argument then was like Prototype was janky and barely functioned, and Infamous was amazing. But if you go back and play Infamous now, you see how fucking ramshackle that thing was too. It was like barely holding on. The frame rate in Infamous is dog water, dude.
But when the frame rate goes smooth randomly for like 2 seconds, you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah, you got a glimpse of what could be.
Yeah.
I remember like Infamous being one of the first games where like I truly noticed like because the range of like the amount of frames that you could get at any given moment was just so huge that it was actually jarring.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
when it would go really smooth for like 5 to 10 seconds, you're like, oh my God. And then you go back to fucking normal video game life.
Standing completely still on a rooftop and you're like, damn, this is pretty nice. And then you get into one fight and it's at 17 frames per second.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like the hardest hitting like 360 era titles were not like open world. I feel like it was, it was like a really good balance between.
Things definitely started at that point. Like they were like Assassin's Creed became, by the end of the 360 generation, it was definitely an icon. Like I would say Brotherhood was really the first one that was a major icon game. But like, and then, they just started making stuff open world that everybody got a little bit mad about. I mean, the Mafia games were always open world, so that's not really a good comparison. But I remember people really complaining about Mafia 2 being like, there's no reason for this game to be open world because there's barely any side content. There's no side missions. You're just driving around and everybody's like, well, it's for flavor. You know what I mean? Like they're just trying to make you feel like the city is there. Stuff like that. Like people that complaint was popping up a bit, but it was funny because if the complaint popped up, it was just because there wasn't enough to do in the open world, not that they were open world. So I don't know. I felt like the PS4 generation really leaned into Icon City. But that was just me. And then in general, like, there's always that funny thing where people say, well, the games in which the generation you liked the best is just because you had the most fun playing games with your friends, or you were a kid and you had nothing weighing you down or whatever. But I think now is a really good time to be into video games. Like games coming out these days are great. So I have absolutely no qualms.
I feel like that's pretty accurate. I mean, there's like something super special about the like Xbox 360 party chat era of being able to share Netflix and watch things at the same time with each other, and all the games we play, the Xbox Live Arcade, like us all just getting some $5 or $10 game and playing it for like a day or forever.
Or like, I mean, just the first...
And we're kind of in that era again, but with, the Discord hangouts, and it's like on par, if not higher quality experience.
It's the same thing in reality, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was just back then in the 360 generation, it was games were occasions, right? It was like major AAA funded multiplayer games, the Halos, the Call of Duties, the whatever. I mean, I remember one of you freaks was into BioShock 2 multiplayer. I remember that.
I also played BioShock 2
multiplayer. Don't think I forgot that about you.
I was extremely into it.
BioShock 2 multiplayer was good, though.
Put a lot of hours into that.
But like, it was major games were coming around and they were getting huge player bases and people really enjoyed them. And it was like you could reliably say that if a game came out, you and your friends could jump on Xbox Live and play it for like a month at least or more, right? Months. Left 4 Dead, things like that we would just play consistently. Nowadays, there's so many games coming out, which is a net win, by the way. I'm not saying this to say it's worse now. It's better. It's better that there's more games, but it's less reliable that you and all your friends will be playing the same game. And I think you can't really recapture that era of everybody playing the same game. Fucking everybody who played video games was playing Halo 3. Like,
they're playing the same like 4 or 5 games.
Exactly.
Everyone had the same 4 or 5 games in their library.
It was like you're playing Halo 3, you're playing Modern Warfare 2, whatever.
Gears of War, Left 4 Dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
All that shit. Warhawk, am I right? No.
Yes, Warhawk.
Mag.
Yeah, TF2 boys, TF2.
Yeah, TF2.
But even now, like as someone who probably has more free time as an adult than 90% of adults, even now it's still more of like a thought of how do I want to spend my time? Yeah, which is kind of crazy. Like even now it's like I wanted to play Flintlock and I was like, is this really like I could go back play some other games. I think that's okay. It didn't look that great. It didn't look that great. But I wanted to like sit down and at least give it an honest shot. But after hearing you and Tyler kind of rip on it, I was like, oh, that's okay. I trust them. So it's like, do I really want to spend like an hour or two of my time like figuring out if this game's like dog shit or not? Not really. Whenever in reality, I could either keep playing Kunitsu-Gami or I could go into my backlog and I could probably find something really, really quick that is like I know for a fact definitively is worth my time. So
by the way, we're back. That was a long intro. Welcome. You're listening to the Infinite Scale podcast. You know the drill. You know what we do here.
Did the intro start at the child abuse or the video games?
Definitely started at the child abuse. Us reminiscing about being beaten when we were little is. I feel like if we want to be all things multi-layered, let's say we want to help people work through their traumas here, and I would say that us acknowledging that we were the last generation of children to be hit openly is a really great way to start a video game podcast. Yes,
I am a human being. I have layers.
So I was going to say to all the kids being beaten now that are listening, hit them back.
That's true. Yeah.
They're stronger than you. I wouldn't do that. Please don't.
So listen, here's the deal, kids.
Hit your mom back.
Oh.
Go under their bed. There's probably a black box. You just got to find the key. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
If your dad's really lazy, it's all gonna be in the same box.
Yeah, and it'll be unlocked. No. Anyway, we don't endorse this.
What about Viva Pinata, right?
Yeah, holy shit, dude.
Great. No lie.
Dude, Josh was playing Viva Pinata the other, like, I guess it was like a few months ago now. But I was like, this shit looks like it fucking slaps still. That's kind of crazy.
I showed Jennifer Viva Pinata a year or so ago. And honestly, the magic isn't there anymore because I know everything. There's no surprises, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, but it's still beautiful. It's still just amazing that game exists it brought me so many hours of joy as a kid. I remember when I bought that, my mom, this is another thing about, living back then, is that your parents could say that something you were doing looked kind of gay. You know what I mean? And they it was like a little bit of a panic thing, but my mom was like, is this like a gay thing? Like, what is up with this? Like, I remember asking her to buy me Nintendogs, and she was like, this looks like it's for girls. Is that
true?
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was just something that your parents said about you back then.
If you were a Nintendo kid, your parents thought you were gay for probably like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, definitely. So. Yeah, and they were right.
I actually, I know you are kind of joking, but real talk, I think it's kind of not true, because to parents, like, Nintendo was video games. You know what I mean? Like, a Nintendo, like, my mom called a PlayStation a Nintendo because to her, like, a Nintendo was like video, like, so like the iconic like Nintendo-y kind of stuff or anything on an actual Nintendo console was like, especially post the Wii, because the Wii, like, kind of in a weird way got adults reinvested in what video games were, which is not true, because the Wii is not a good example of what video games were, but it was to them, I guess. But
I think it depends on the content. Like, if they understand the concept, you know what I mean? They're like Mario.
Well, I don't think they do.
Well, I guess. I mean, and to be fair, my mom is younger by a decent amount than I think both of your parents. My mom's 50 right now. So,
oh yeah, for sure. But my mom was 50 when I was in high school.
Yeah, I mean, but what I mean is, like, my mom had a concept or could understand the appeal of something like Mario or Mario Kart or whatever. That was just like she had a frame of reference for what that means. She was like, Nintendo, she was like, what is this? Like, you just hang out with fake dogs? Like, what's up with that?
They definitely jumped the shark for a little bit around like the GameCube through the DS era, where they had like Pikmin and shit. There's no way your parents saw that, and then they were like, they didn't like side eye it.
I remember when I got my grandmother to buy me Donkey Konga for the GameCube.
Oh
you
my
guys remember
god,
Donkey Konga,
dude. I couldn't convince my parents to do that because it costed too much fucking money.
Well, this was crazy. I mean, like, well after launch, like, it was, you could go get it used in one of the GameStop plastic bags that had the conga drums and the disc in it.
I didn't care about it after that.
Yeah.
So to that point, I feel like eyebrows were definitely raised when I got DDR.
Oh, for sure.
Like fucking crazy ass like J-pop weirdo
or
hyper
Guitar Hero
songs, and I'm just like dancing around in my room to like Cartoon Heroes or whatever just crazy ass super J-pop songs.
Your mom's like, Hatsune Miku, huh? And she starts loading the gun.
Yeah. What if y'all done with my boy?
Yeah, we got to put him down. The woke mind virus has made my son
over and shows me anime, and everything I watch isn't even English anymore. My mom's like,
dude.
My parents were also concerned when they saw me watching so much anime at around that age. They were.
It's just fucking bad. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, my mom even told me, like, she like straight up. So
yeah. I remember. Go on.
Did you watch it subbed or dubbed? That's the question.
Oh, I don't even remember. I was watching things like FMA and Death Note, right? So that was dubbed.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Naruto was dubbed for sure. Ergo Proxy, I remember being when I started like getting further into the abyss, right?
For sure.
Was one of the first animes.
that was much later though. Ergo Proxy is like a 2007 show. Like
that's about when I started getting into it. Yeah,
I think by the time I was 12, my mom was like, "You're just weird. We're cool with that." Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like it was like younger than that when she was like actually worried. She's like,
that's funny.
She's like I remember Cowboy Bebop. She was like, I don't know what is.
How do you look at Cowboy Bebop, even if you're like 10 years older than like if you're like in your like late 20s, right? And you see Cowboy Bebop, how are you not like, I get it?
Yeah, I mean that
I
guess
fucking cool.
But it does have like a weird energy to it. I get it, like she was just like, what's up with the rose? This is like very melodramatic. What are you watching right now? Like Dragon Ball Z was like what I was watching before that, and she could understand. She's like, all right, fair enough. I mean, it's a cartoon, you know. But Cowboy Bebop, it was too close to like a film or something real. So she was like, I don't get it. Like, what? This is kind of weird.
If I sat down with my mom as a kid and we watched an episode of Cowboy Bebop, which would never happen because it was always on super late, and I shouldn't have been watching it anyway, probably. But if that ever happened, my mom would absolutely be like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is not a cartoon, finger quotes. Like,
she's like, the guy has depression?
Like, the themes here are not normal.
All the main characters want to kill themselves. Is that normal?
Yeah. Why is the prostitute with the fucking
that's true.
Drug dealer or whatever? Like,
phase design was probably pretty tough too. But but then there was the other side of it, which was like, okay, Adult Swim also showed like Trigun and Hellsing, which were more cartoony, but they were also horrendously violent.
Which leans closer to cartoony vibes.
But it was like very clearly the demographic they were shooting for was like in like the 16 to 18-year-old range. Not like,
teenagers was always, I think, what they were going for. But they just, as small children, we caught strays because we were, you know what I mean, like it was a ricochet and it hit me one night. I was up and Gundam was on and I was like, this is the best, you know. And then from then on, it was.
I was just about to reference Gundam.
It was too late, dude. It was they got me.
They definitely got me.
I was
Gundam
indoctrinated.
So were y'all like me and caught Spirited Away when it first aired on TV in America? Like, because it was like a big thing. Cartoon Network like got the airing rights and.
I would have no fucking clue how the first time I watched Spirited Away was. I feel like I was like 10 or like 11. But I've watched that movie like literally over probably 50 times.
I kind of remember being older when I finally came around to seeing anything like Miyazaki related. Like I was probably like 9th grade or something like that. Like when I was actually making an effort to like go back and look at stuff.
Yeah, I didn't watch anything else Ghibli until like I was an adult and doing drugs. But Spirited Away, I remember watching on TV the first time it aired because there were so many commercials about it and it looked kind of cool. And I seriously think that movie like affected me so strongly, like as a small child. Like it really, I don't know, impacted me greatly. And I always
visually, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I always remember thinking like. I wish there was more, and then I didn't, find out there was more until way later.
I remember Ponyo came out in theaters in Panama City, which was fucking crazy.
Yeah,
that was unbelievable, and that was when we were in high school.
Yeah.
But very. If I'm really bearing the lead here, I do think that Pokemon is what fucked us all up. Like that was the beginning of the indoctrination. Because I made my grandmother take me to the opening day Pokemon the movie.
Yeah.
And they should have known at that point what the deal was going to be with me. Like they should have been like, why is this floating? First of all, why is this floating guy who talks through telepathy got thick ass thighs and shit? But secondly, why is all of this so depressing? What is up with all this?
And then the strongest Pokemon comes around and it's just a floating naked pink cat.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. They're like the second strongest Pokemon will look like a Pixar mom. And then the first strongest Pokemon will just be like an animal, like a full-on animal, can't even say full sentences, but is like actually God.
One of my favorite moments. Movie. Yeah. Will always be at the end when like Mewtwo is like having his like self-realizations about how wrong he is or whatever and how important life is in general or whatever the fuck. and it's literally him talking to Mew and like having this crazy like
and Mew's like licking
dialogue.
himself.
Well, and then Mew just goes Mew, and then
Yeah.
Mew's just like, "You're right. I was."
Yeah,
I didn't say anything, bro.
It's
like,
so good.
You're so right, brother.
The circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. Yeah. I don't remember exactly what
that
it
is
says.
actually. I think verbatim. Like, that's it. I'm pretty sure you nailed it. Yeah, fucking. Yeah.
Did y'all ever see the sequel to that?
Of course, yeah, with all the Lugia and all that
it's
on
the same
ice.
idea.
No. Not the next like big theater Pokemon movie. They did a straight to VHS sequel to that movie.
The one with the volcano or the
it's like a mountain with a lake on top.
Yes, I remember.
Yes.
I know. Yeah.
I
had that on VHS.
Yeah,
Me too,
I think I had it too. Yeah,
it was pretty good. I always remember thinking like, hell yeah, this is actually.
What did they call it? Was it just Pokemon like
Mewtwo's Revenge or Return?
Mewtwo Returns. Yeah.
Oh, but was he evil again?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I kind of remember.
It was about Giovanni trying to find him, and
that's right. That's right.
The main characters are there. Yeah,
right.
It has. I'm pretty sure that movie is the one that has the famous scene whenever they get into like a weather storm, and so they have to like take cover while they're going up like this mountainous region.
That's right.
And in the American version, whenever Brock's like, "We need to have a snack," in the American version, he brings out a hamburger, and then in the Japanese version, he brings out an onigiri. It's just really funny because
wait, really? Is that? I remember that joke, but I didn't remember it was in that movie. But I thought, the funny thing is, I think it's an onigiri visually both times, but they just changed the voice line.
Oh, I could have swore it was like an actual, but that's funny. That would make it even funnier.
I think it literally is like, because they're not going to go in and redo the animation, you know what I mean? But like, I think they literally just, I guess they could, but I think they literally just, it's like Dragon Ball. Like, they never changed any of the animation, but they would just change the lines to make it less horrifically violent. So, like, remember when he blows up that news chopper in Dragon Ball Z, when the Saiyans come down at the beginning? Who's the bald one again? Is it,
who, Krillin?
No, of the villains. The Saiyan. Nappa. When Nappa blows up the news chopper in Dragon Ball Z, in the Japanese version, you know, you clearly see that there's like people in the helicopter and they all die horrifically. In the English version, they just cut a second earlier from like showing it, and then he just goes, and then somebody off screen goes, "Oh, thank God they got out. I could see their parachutes," or something. That's literally so that's all they added. But yeah, that's what I thought in the Pokemon one. It's like he's literally holding an onigiri, but he's like, "These jelly donuts are delicious." Strawberries my favorite right or now. Something. But it's really good. Okay,
good movies though.
Great, yeah, quality stuff. You mentioned something that set me off that I just need to get back to. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn.
Oh yeah.
Neither of you guys played this, right? Okay, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn is made by the people who made Ashen. Do you remember Ashen?
Just like no, not really. Okay. The name though, yeah.
Okay, so Ashen was, I think, it was some years ago, 2018, according to Google. Nice little art style. It was a game I kind of enjoyed. I don't think I finished it, but I played a decent amount of it. It was basically kind of a prototype open world Souls-like. So it was one of the earlier Souls-likes that I can remember that tried to kind of broaden the horizon a little bit. There was a bit more latitude. You could kind of just meander around. There was like a town building mechanic from what I recall. They had AI companions that you could hire. It was a pretty good game. I enjoyed Ashen. I remember playing it and being like, there's something here. So A44 Games is the developer. They have now put out a new game that is ostensibly kind of a Souls-like again. It's called Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. Visually, it looks really nice. I think the art style is kind of neat. I thought the trailer did a lot for me. I played about an hour Tyler played about 15 minutes. I played about an hour, and it feels bad. It runs bad. It hitches constantly, which is not good. And to make matters worse, there's like they do the Dark Souls thing where there's an early boss fight about 30 minutes or so in that you have to lose. They're like, you're going to lose and die. And that's how you get to the later stuff.
Yeah.
It felt like shit. Like I was like, if this is what the boss fights are going to be like, this is like really bad. I think it sucks. Which makes me very sad. I think I am gonna go back to it when I have a little bit more time. I think I am gonna give it another shot. I should get a little bit beyond, basically the hour is like the tutorial. It's like they do like the first 30 minutes is like real tutorial stuff. And then there's the fake boss fight that you're supposed to lose. And then when you get up from that, there's like another 30 minutes where they give you some powers that they then tutorialize. And then that was basically my hour. So I really only did the tutorial, but it feels not good is, I think, the thing here. Give it a shot. I'd be curious to know if you guys have the same reaction. I think I'll probably give it like another hour or two just to see if it warms me up. I feel kind of bad saying this early, but the first impression of this game is not good. So, sorry to Flintlock, the Siege of Dawn, and the team that I'm sure worked very hard on it. I mean, there's a lot of clear attention paid to certain things. They just did not iron out the game feel whatsoever. Like, even just moving around you're like, what, did they run out of money? Like, what happened here? I don't know. Just very weird.
It's very interesting because I was seeing people like they specifically say that the movement was what felt very good and the combat was like a clunky mess.
From what I saw, there's a traversal mechanic where you can fly. Actually, they tutorialized that. There's like little points that you can kind of zip to and fly to. Maybe that's what they're talking about. But even then, I mean, it's like very fixed. Like you can only do it in certain locations. So I don't know why that would be. I think people just get their rocks off from flying in video games, no matter what form it takes.
True.
But I mean, it's literally just you push a button and you zip to a thing. That's
okay.
It. I mean, it's nothing super crazy. So
is the combat more like traditional hack and slash, or is it trying to be like a Souls-like, or like what's going on?
It's pretty much a Souls-like, yeah. I mean, it's heavy. Okay. You roll, you parry. They actually the guns in the game, they're kind of like Neo. It's like Neo Bloodborne mix. Like they do a lot of damage for sure, and there's a flintlock rifle that you have for long range stuff, but you can also use a pistol as like a parry. To like interrupt uninterruptible attacks, unparryable, because like you have like a regular parry where it's like a deflection, like a block timing thing, but there's certain attacks that flash red that you cannot block or block parry that you can interrupt with your pistol and it'll stagger them. So
that's a neat idea. I like that.
Sure. Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't feel good so far anyway, but it's a decent idea. But it's kind of like Neo in that way where they have guns, but they're very like, special use case. It's not like you're just constantly firing off pistols. Tyler, I don't know what the hell he thought. He thought it was like a full-on shooter. He's like, wait, so you're telling me this isn't a shooter? I was like, no, buddy, this is a Souls game. He goes, oh, I'm deleting it.
How did he look up anything about the game before downloading it?
Don't ask me anything about what Tyler does.
Fucking worms for brains Williams over here. Holy shit.
I do not know what his deal is, but somehow he gets ideas in his head about games and then they're not at all what he thinks it is. But then again, he enjoys Tarkov, so clearly there's something wrong up there.
I enjoy Tarkov, but that's I'll have to. It has been a while, me in that game though. But are we at a point? Are we at a point where traditional hack and slashes are just like cooked? Are we done? Have we like crossed the Rubicon on that? And like there, when are we gonna get like a normal hack and slash game?
I guess Stellar Blade was kind of kind of a soul. I mean, it was kind of a Souls game. It was kind of a hack and slash. I don't know.
Final Fantasy 16.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
true.
haven't played that game, so I'm still waiting on it to.
That's
come
true.
out on PC.
Yeah.
Great.
Final Fantasy 16 and honestly Rebirth.
Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of a hack and slash game now that I'm thinking
about it. I think Phantom Blade Zero was the one that recently the devs came out and attempted to distance themselves a little bit from the Souls formula. They essentially were saying that like the map design and everything is going to be incredibly inspired, like heavily inspired by the FromSoft team, but the gameplay itself they wanted to keep more of like a Team Ninja-esque vibe to it. So like
I think they are kind of going for that too. What game did I say earlier? Did I accidentally say Phantom Blade? I meant what's the one with
Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade. That is right. Okay. Phantom Blade, Stellar Blade, too similar. Somebody's got to change one of those. We just had a Devil May Cry game 5. I guess that was actually like 4 years ago.
Hell yeah, and that's a good ass fucking game. That should be a signal to everyone.
What else? Hi-Fi Rush. That's a hack.
Does Devil May Cry really like we just got that though?
No, that was like 4 years ago. Yeah, I kind of time is
5 years ago now. What the fuck?
Time is tricking me at this point. Yeah, they kind of just have reformatted too. Like all the hack and slash games are now like indie roguelikes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like Dead Cells.
Yeah, you're right.
But
it just feels like every game now has to have some Souls element just injected into it. And it feels like it makes these games feel like Frankenstein's whenever you do that, you know? Like I don't know, it's something about it now. It's like now this is that like dollar store video game that you know, like it gives that vibe to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I get it. There's a lot of mechanics in like FromSoft games that are pretty clever and also easy to implement. So it's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, developers take inspiration from games that they like. So I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think Flintlock I think Ashen I had more fun with so far. I don't know. I mean, whatever. But I give it another shot. Crossley, you play anything? Merced and I were going to talk for a while about Kunitsu-Gami. This is going to happen.
Yeah, I guess I really haven't, to be honest. I've been playing a lot of the finals. We did some Lethal Company. That was a good time. Yeah. Ready or Not broke itself. We'll get back to that one day.
We should try to get into that DLC today, actually. I think if we should see if we can fix your thing.
Yeah.
Because I would like to see that stuff at least, like just get a taste for it a little bit. Yeah. Because, I think I was pretty excited about that actually. That Ready or Not DLC, but did you? Yeah, I guess nothing else really came out, huh? They delayed Stalker 2, so I think it's actually all over for me. But nothing's. I mean, other than like the 3 games that they put out on Game Pass. Bye, Jen. Jennifer's leaving. Other than the 3 games they put out on Game Pass, those 3 being Flintlock, Kunitsu, and Dungeons of Hinterberg. I haven't seen anything new that I was like, I gotta get in there. It was mostly like Merced said, like looking back at the backlog and being like, I could probably get into some stuff on here.
Yeah.
Are you Crossley? Are you like not exactly fucking with single player games much right now? Is that I feel like you've been playing a lot of multiplayer and Magic, I guess, is the other thing. But
no, I mean I was on Zenless Zone Zero for a good bit there. I feel like I kind of hit a wall there where instead of getting new content constantly, it's like I'll have to grind maybe or something, and I don't know. Whatever. So I might be done with that, but fucking, I don't really have anything in that department I want to play. I mean, I played a good bit of Elden Ring DLC on my own. I mean, that was pretty recent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That was, I guess, only a few weeks ago. It just feels longer ago now for some reason.
Yeah, it does. I agree. Yeah, I don't know. I'll definitely be playing Black Myth Wukong, and I
that's soon. Yeah,
feel like I'll be playing Kunitsu-Gami any moment now. I kind of want to do that today, actually, but
God, should we just talk about that?
Yeah, I don't want to just dive right in.
I don't want to give anything away to you if you're. But I guess depending on, it's a game that is like immune to being spoiled because none of what we say will have any. There's no story. I mean, there is, but there isn't. First of all, there's no dialogue.
The story is presented fully up front to you, and then you get it the whole rest of the way through.
Yeah.
So there are no major developments or anything. So
no, and I mean, like, it is a game that is vibes first, story second, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's
100%.
It's all like presentation and visuals and I don't know, like music, everything is just wrapped together in this beautiful package that feels like they just knew exactly what they wanted to make. And it was just a fun ass fucking video game. They just wanted to make a fun ass video game with a beautiful aesthetic. And I love that. I love that. Okay. Kunitsu-Gami, what is this? It's a Capcom developed and published game of God only knows what kind of budget. I don't really know much about how Capcom budgets are these days. Like, obviously, they probably put way more money behind a Street Fighter or a Monster Hunter than something like Kunitsu-Gami, but where does that fall on the scale? I don't know. This was developed like in-house in Capcom. Division 1 is the credited studio in Capcom, so like, the primary studio. It is clear that a lot of care and attention went into making this thing, which is insane because it isn't especially marketable. It's not a shooter. It's not a multiplayer game. It's not a live service thing. There's a very defined cap on how much money they could make from this. And it is still one of the best games that will come out this year. I am certain about that. It is fucking awesome. Merced, what give me the pitch on it. How do you describe? I actually like how you described it to Crossley in the Discord. How would you describe this game?
It is 100%. It is a tower defense game. If the tower was a hot woman, so you have to essentially protect the hot woman as she moves her path through all of the villages throughout the game, and monsters come and attack her, and that's gonna be like the main gameplay. And then after that, this is reinforced by a almost village building / management on the other half of the gameplay loop. So you're bouncing back and forth between these two things throughout the game, unlocking RPG elements as you go.
Yeah.
But honestly, the as much as explaining that really does give you an idea of the game, the feeling of the game you will never ever get unless you actually play it, because it is all propped up by this insanely stylish like not even like way of storytelling really, but like but being able to unlock like the models for like the different enemies that you're facing, the units that you're using.
Did you get any of the desserts yet?
Fuck yeah. I make sure to unlock all the desserts.
Dude, the desserts.
And then, and when you look at the models for the desserts, you're just like, oh my fuck, dude.
Yeah, dude, I get hungry. like looking at that shit.
And
like,
which is crazy because like I don't think we ever really get whenever it comes to like the Capcom engine, we never really get like a raw idea of like just what it can do. But I think the models that they display and the desserts especially, you get like a really good idea where you're like, holy fuck, like this is a beautiful ass.
I mean, if you
engine.
think about it, it's the RE engine, so same engine as Resident Evil, and it really, they're leaning very clearly because like Resident Evil 2 remake, I think, was the first. I guess you could even go back to 7. But those games focused extremely highly on fidelity of individual objects because they were, like Resident Evil 2 remake, you would pick up objects like a box of ammo and you could rotate it around and it was like totally beautifully rendered. So it does feel like they're using a lot of that tech here. But what's interesting about it is like, instead of a box of shotgun shells, it's a fucking delicious mochi. Mm-hmm. And you get to like zoom in and it tells you about it and where it comes from and like text, what and then and then even better, you watch the girl eat it, which I was like damn dude, I'm not a mukbang guy, but let's go.
I remember the first time I just like stared at my screen like, is she gonna eat it? Is she gonna fucking eat it? And it took like 30 seconds and then she fucking ate it.
And what's even better is like when she eats it, it like clearly there's pieces missing. You know what I mean? And she eats each dessert differently. So like some of them that are like handheld, she'll like pick it up and take a bite and then put it down. Some of them she'll bring the whole plate up to her face and like, you know what I mean? It's really good. But yesterday when you said that, I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good description. Like, yeah, it is really tower defense-y, but it's also mixed with, I said Brutal Legend at the time, which I think is more of a broad RTS. I get what you're saying. Somebody mentioned Pikmin earlier. I actually think this is kind of a Pikmin.
Yeah.
Like you start out a level.
I can see that.
Sometimes with a few guys already, sometimes just completely by yourself. And then you have to go through the world. And the flavor, the story setup is that the mountain that you're on has been corrupted by some kind of evil. And you and the priestess are going around purifying the land. And that's really it. And the way you do that is through carving a path. So there's a set path that you carve, and you spend a currency to carve it. And by carving it, you are setting the way for her to then walk by and do her chant where she like purifies it. And it all happens pretty slowly. So while you're waiting for her to do that, you're going and getting more of that currency that you can use on continuing to carve the path, or spending on like rescuing like when you rescue a villager, they're like, oh, thank you, and then you can turn them into a class of soldier.
War criminal.
Yeah, so you can turn them into like a thief. I think what do I have so far? I have thief, hack, like a woodcutter, which is just a guy with an axe who's like kind of the basic foot soldier, archer, a sumo wrestler, like. And you have to spend the same currency that you use to carve the path on transforming your peasants into different classes. And you earn that currency by purifying places around the map, or hitting like there's animals that are infected, and if you hit them a couple times, it like cleanses them, and then they're like grateful, and you get points from that. You also get healing items and stuff in the environment, and really. There's so many. It starts out like the very first level. You're like, I get what they're going for, but man, I hope it ramps up. Boy, it does. It's kind of impressive how many, like, they basically, it's, remember the first time you played Portal, or Portal 2 is a better example. And you're like, okay, I get it. And then the minute that you get it, they introduce another mechanic that changes things. It's just like that. It's like a puzzle game. It's beautiful. Like, you'll have a mechanic and you're like, all right, I get it. And now they're like, okay, now you're in pitch black. And you're like, oh, fuck. And they're like, oh, yeah, your villagers can only attack things if they can see them. So either you got to be standing right next to them, or you got to light the torches and do all that stuff. And you're like, sick. Or you're like, okay, I get it. And then they're like, now there's gates that spawn, like portals that spawn enemies that move around in different locations of the map. So you can't just set up your defenses in the same spot every time. You have to like move them around constantly. Or, they add a new enemy type. Or, and it's just the progression is so satisfying.
I agree 100%.
Plus, the thing they do that makes it better than Pikmin is you have a fucking sword. And if you've ever played a video game before, you are a god in this game. You are fucking shit up, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, guys, stand back. I'll take care of it. Like, I was like, don't worry. You know what I mean? Like, just carving
all
them
the units
up.
all the units that you upgrade and you bring, they're almost like they're like a redundancy for your failure, essentially.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the times you'll put them in locations that are like on a path that you don't necessarily want to constantly be watching. You'll put them there, so that way you can focus on a certain main path and you can just fuck shit up over there,
totally
constantly killing enemies as they come in.
There's a few
I think
different strategies. Cool. Like you could do it that way. You could just have them fucking mog shit and like you just run around and act as cleanup. You can put them as like the back line of defense, like closest to the princess, and then you're kind of running around doing your thing. There's like a lot of different ways to do it. I did do a few, I don't know if it's like 5 or 6 levels in, they do that thing where they switch it up where you can't fight. Yeah. That was cool. I was like,
yeah, I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot, actually.
Now it's a real RTS, you know what I mean? Like,
and it forces you to use at least like some, because they don't have like any like in-depth RTS mechanics, especially since this game was like clearly meant to be played on controller. Yeah. So like like probably the most in-depth thing that you can do is to tell all of your villagers to attack or tell all of your villagers to defend certain things. But like once they take you out of the game and they're like, all right, you can't actually fight this round. Yeah. You all you can do is just like basically tell your soldiers what to do. Just even small things like that, interacting with like those mechanics of the game is like incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, because you can select them individually and move them around and place them in like choke points and bottlenecks. And there's even like you have a carpenter who hides at night when all the monsters come out, but during the day he can build reinforcements and stuff. And like a tower for the archers, or like a wall that's like a barrier wall that the creatures can't get through until they break it. Little like charm shrine things that like buff up your forces if they're standing near them. Like you kind of have to spend your time really wisely. It's a time management game because like at night you can't really spend any time doing any of this shit, and the carpenter goes away anyway. So you're like during the day, like, okay, I need to make sure I spend some points carving the path so the priestess is always making progress, because otherwise we're just stuck in this infinite loop of like day night, just fighting and rebuilding. So you're like, I got to make sure she builds, but then I got to make sure I have enough points to upgrade my peasants. But then I got to make sure, I'm directing the carpenter to repair the right shit. The number of times I've repaired something just for it to not at all be relevant for the fight, you know what I mean? Like I'll build like one of those walls and then I'm like, oh fuck, we like didn't even need that wall because they're spawning on this side.
The walls are probably the most irrelevant for me, at least, like most of the time. But yeah, you're right. Like once they introduce all of the mechanics for a single map, you are constantly like juggling your attention, like constantly looking to see if the repairs are done. If the repairs are done, you need to run and make sure that you get the carpenter over to something else. Like time management is like
purifying, getting points, hitting the animals, getting the rations. There's like little obstacles that you have to clear if you want to get like 100% of the map purified.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
There's just a lot going on, but it never feels bad. It feels fun. It feels really just rewarding.
Enough. Yeah. It's just enough. They give you just enough plates to spin, basically.
I remember there was a second of panic when I realized that I had to relight the torches during that one boss fight. That I was like, oh fuck, I have to keep sending guys around to light the torches, but then there's constantly enemies streaming towards the priestess and all that stuff.
That was a cool boss fight. I like that.
Really like that fight. You told me that you are not going back and doing the levels again to get the stuff.
No, not right now.
Man.
No. Is there like special stuff that ends up happening, or?
No, you just get charms or more points to upgrade your shit. Yeah, that's it. So you do actually, because by completing them, you will unlock more currency that allows you to do the long-term upgrades for your peasants. So like my woodcutters are max level. I think my archers are like halfway to max level. So like you do get like a lot of that currency, and it's really the easiest way to kind of stay ahead of the curve in terms of like your peasant's ability, because they will die pretty easily. I didn't have any of them die until I was trying to do that. Some of the boss challenges are basically beat them under a certain time. And so I was trying to do the flying guy, and you know, when I do those, I'm just like all in on like damage. And so I wasn't focusing on healing any of the guys, and I had one die for the first time, and I was like, oh fuck, man, that's kind of, he's just gone. I was like, I'm not sure what happened. I feel like I could revive him or something, but no.
Yeah, I saw those and I was like, okay, well, I think that these are intended for me to just come back and do them later. Like,
yeah,
it's
you
like
can
one,
do that,
one of
yeah.
because one of them was just like beat this in like 2 minutes, and I was like, no, I'll do that later.
Yeah, I did the very first one, which is beat it in under a minute, and that was a little tough. Even with like upgraded guys, I was like, holy fuck, I'm getting close. I think I did like 50 seconds or something. So
yeah, and there are times like considering like we're playing the game like differently in that sense.
Yeah,
there are times like later on. I think I'm actually on the last level. But there are times in the last few levels that I encountered where your units do almost get one shot, and you like a healer is like completely necessary.
Interesting.
So
okay.
Yeah, I have my healers like completely leveled up. That was like one of the first things I did is the healer, the sumo guy, and
that seems like
another one.
Does the sumo heal? I thought it just drew aggro.
No, but he gets a fuck ton. Yeah, he draws aggro. He has an AoE ability. He gets more attack and he gets more health.
Okay, yeah.
So he's just an all around, like, he's crazy.
Yeah, he just
can't hit air things. That's his drawback.
Yeah, and I mean, he doesn't move. Like if he's doing aggro, he just stands stock still. So when the enemies who shoot long range at you get in there, you got to really pair him with an archer, because otherwise he'll just take hits forever until he dies.
Yeah. That's another thing too, is like in the later part of the game, there are there's like siege Seath that end up coming out that will just straight up target the lady. They don't give a fuck about anything else other than lobbing these like weird like plasma balls at her.
Yeah, I saw those as well.
It'll chunk like a sixth of her health, and they'll do it every like 10 seconds. So it's,
you gotta. Though I found I have to go and take care of those for the most part.
Yeah,
like because then they do the slam. When you get close, they do like the thing where they charge back and slam, which is easy for you to dodge, but for peasants, they would just tank that shit every time and end up dying.
Yeah, like how you call them peasants, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, sorry.
They're villagers.
Yeah, sorry. I think I said villagers every time until just now. They're peasants to me. Okay, they fucking barely do anything. I'm holding this whole show together.
You draft them to fucking war, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
That's insane.
Yeah, I'm revealing my bias towards the bourgeoisie here.
But the like it's so hard to like overstate just how fucking pretty and stylish this game is.
It's so
like
good.
Capcom has still got it, bro. It's just there's so many moments where I'm playing and like the animations are some of the best fucking animations that I've ever seen, literally ever in a video game, where everything
really
just flows and looks beautiful and like in connection with the environment and the particle effects that they use. You're just like, damn, dude, there's so many moments where you're looking at it and you're like, this is a fucking gorgeous game.
I feel like I owe an apology to this game, because I do remember going back, like if we think back to like E3 or maybe it was the Game Awards.
It was E3.
Was it?
Or no, it was Game Awards, wasn't it? Because that was
when they revealed the trailer. Yeah. And I remember us talking about how good it looked, but I didn't really understand what the game was, and I wasn't all that excited to play it. I was just like, this just looks really nice. I owe Capcom an apology. I mean, I like this game. It's got everything, man. It looks fucking beautiful. The soundtrack, like the war music when you're fighting, all of the taiko drums and the way they mix in, they add in a little bit of other instruments, some strings and stuff for ambient effect, flutes and things. But like, it's very drum heavy, which makes sense because like ostensibly this game is about kind of traditional Japanese dance and plays and stuff like that. the music is fucking amazing, dude. Like the whole time you're just
really
like,
good.
You're just like, I mean, all the each village that you're rebuilding has a different theme.
Yeah.
They're all amazing. I mean, it's just, I don't know how they did this. I do not know how they did this. I mean,
each boss has its own theme. That one that I linked with like the sporadic jazz and the wild saxophone. And it's just like, bro, fuck. And like, in confluence with like everything else, it just creates an experience that is incredibly fucking unique.
Yeah.
Like, and you don't get that often in video games. Like,
just a cool fucking thing. I mean, I really, how often does a game come out that everything speaks to you? You know what I mean? Like literally every aspect of it. Like it feels rare, especially something that's not like a sequel or like a property that already exists or like something. Like I want everyone to fucking play this game because I want Capcom to feel good about this, to feel like it's a success, to feel like they earned something here. Because it is just so fucking fun. And you know what? The thing that stuck out in my mind is when you first load into the Game Pass version of this game, they give you like the pre-order bonus rewards and they're all Okami themed. I haven't used any of them, but it thinking back on that now, I'm like, this is the spirit of Okami revived. You know what I mean? A game that was super unique, super fun, didn't sell all that well, was very like beautiful and just emotional and a good experience, especially back then when we were kids when Okami came out. And I mean, it I don't even know if I ever finished that game, but that game did have like an effect on me for sure. But it was just like something that like this feels like that spirit. Like they're taking something that is not a sure thing, not a guaranteed success like another Monster Hunter or another Street Fighter or whatever, and putting some love and care into it. And god damn it, we need more of that shit. Like come on. Like Capcom, are they the best AAA studio right now?
I think it's the greatest comeback of any studio ever. Like it's crazy.
Like
they're doing absolutely amazing right now. I don't know. Like if you can think of another one, like another AAA studio. I guess
From Software.
You consider if you could consider FromSoft, but AAA.
But I mean, FromSoft, Capcom, they're crushing it right now, dude. I in a way that no one else like. And yeah, I mean, FromSoft, had a slow start there in their early years as a studio. Kingsfield and stuff had their fans, Armored Core had their fans, but yeah, I mean, Capcom, I think a lot of people felt like they fell off after the 360 generation super hard.
Yeah.
And
there's a long stretch where Capcom was just putting out fucking stinkers, dude. Like,
yeah, it's hard to think.
But you still had some of those. You still had the trans of the world playing Resident Evil 6.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
He
Yeah,
loved
Resident Evil
that
6. What was they put out like those multiplayer Resident Evil games that nobody fucking liked, but they still made like 3 of them. It was like Raccoon City and
I was saying last night though, where it's just like this game very, very clearly was like something that Capcom just really wanted to do.
I love that.
It seems as though with the amount of success that they've garnered over the past I guess they're on like a tear for like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
With the success that they've garnered, they were just like, this is our time to do something that we want to do as a studio, right? That is not either a remake or something that we know for a fact is going to be a success.
Totally.
And they just absolutely nailed it. You can 100% tell that there was like passion behind this project. So
yeah, it's been they've always made a lot of games like regularly, throughout the years. Like there will always be a bunch of Capcom games coming out. But like it feels like the last, you're right, like 5 or so years, everything they've been putting out has just been a bar of quality that is hard to dispute. I guess Dragon's Dogma 2 people have problems with. But even
one
then,
miss is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, and I mean even then it's not like it's a bad fucking game. Right, like, I mean, come on. But I mean, they've got Monster Hunter Wilds cooking. They're doing that Dead Rising remaster that's coming out in a couple months. that I don't think we've talked about because I think it got announced since we recorded last. But did you guys see that?
Which one?
The Dead Rising original, the Dead Rising 1 is getting a remaster.
No, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
I honestly, I would be excited for that, but no, I missed that.
They're calling it DRDR.
Okay.
Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Yeah, some new.
I guess are they doing it on the new engine?
I would think so. Yeah, it looks like textures, improved textures, lighting. Obviously the frame rate has to be better. I mean, original Dead Rising didn't have a terrible frame rate, but it also wasn't great. Yeah, it looks really nice. I don't know, maybe I'll give it a shot. I don't know that Dead Rising even gussied up a little bit. I'm not sure it'll super appeal to me, but we'll see. But it's cool that they're doing it either way. And the thing everyone was mad about is that they're changing the voice of Frank West. It's a new guy now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that doesn't really bother me at all.
Wow, I kind of expected that to bother you. I don't know why. Things bother you sometimes that I...
But I also was like not the person to get bothered by them changing like Snake's voice actor or anything like that. So it's just...
That one was kind of a crime, though, in my opinion.
That one was a big one. Yeah, that was a big one.
The thing that's cute about it, though, is like it was a different character, right? Spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 5 if you haven't played it now 9 years later.
Already. Yeah,
but like, play it. I mean, it's technically not Snake, right? Which I think is brilliant. They should have leaned into that. Like the smartest move they could have possibly made is if Kiefer Sutherland was the voice for 90% of the game, and then the part when you actually meet the real Snake, if it had David Hayter's voice, would have legitimately been one of the coolest things they could have done. And it's so unbelievable that Hideo Kojima didn't make that. Like, that seems like a Kojima idea to me. But anyway. Yeah, everybody, that's so funny that you feel that way because everyone got super pissed in the trailer. You could tell very much it wasn't the same guy. And everybody was really mad.
There was another game recently. Oh shit, I've forgotten. It was so recent too, but there was a where people were freaking out because they were using AI voices, or they were more.
Finals?
Well, the finals was one of them.
Yeah.
But no, this was within the past week, I believe. I need to look more into this. We'll probably talk about this the next time we reconvene.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I mean, you hear about it a decent amount for sure at this point.
Well, now apparently there are like groups of people that are coming together in order to essentially create union protections.
Yeah.
For voice actors, specifically in response to the like prominence of like AI now. I don't know a whole lot about this, but apparently it is going to essentially apply to video games that have started production post a certain point in 2023. After a certain point in 2023, then there needs to be, I'm assuming, a certain level
2024, you mean?
2024, yeah. A certain level of real actors, real voice actors that are utilized in comparison to the amount of AI voice acting that is utilized in your game.
So SAG-AFTRA has authorized a strike. SAG-AFTRA, for those who don't know, is the actors union. Hollywood is predominantly what SAG-AFTRA is relevant for, although it's become more and more and more relevant for smaller. I'm not even going to say smaller. It's relevant for all actors, but video games have kind of skated by on using non-union representation. Like, to give you an example, SAG-AFTRA is so big in film and TV production that if you have one union worker, they must all be union. It's required. So it's a big thing, and it's becoming a bigger thing in video games, which is good. I think everybody should unionize.
Yeah, for sure.
All workers deserve protection. If you are a worker and you are not unionized, you are for sure being exploited. It may be in a way that isn't harmful, right? Like I'm not unionized. There's not exactly a sales guy union. But you know, I mean, it's very much a thing where you could be doing better if you were unionized and you know, perform labor for a company, right? Anyway, so they're calling a strike. The strike goes into effect. Actually, it went into effect 2 days ago, so on Friday, and July 26th. And specifically, these 10 companies are the focus of the strike: Activision, Blind Light, which I think is like a casting thing, Disney, Electronic Arts, Epic Games, Formosa, which does Formosa Interactive, is a company that is an outsourced company. So they basically handle the arrangement and the recording and the editing and the mastering of a lot of voice actor work. So like if you're Capcom and you're getting voices for whatever, you might hire Formosa Interactive to handle kind of some of the logistical stuff of that. By the way, just want to say Formosa, weirdly, I don't know. I need to look this up. I don't know where they're based or what their deal is, but Formosa is the original name of Taiwan.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which is really weird. I don't know, but it was called the Republic of Formosa at one point. I don't know if that has literally anything to do with this or if they just use that name. I don't know what the deal is there, but it just caught me a little off guard. It's kind of funny. So uh-oh. I think Chrome has crashed. Okay, never mind. It's using all 32 gigs of my RAM. Epic Games, Insomniac, Take-Two, VoiceWorks Production, and WB Games. All of those 10 companies will be targeted by the strike, which means that, you know, it's a strike, so union members will not be able to work on projects related to those studios, which is interesting. So depending on how long the strike goes, there will be a lack of you know, major union talent represented. So, you know, there might be a gap here where there's a lot of voice actors that you might not see in works, you know, made during this span of time, right? Or it could put, you know, certain projects on hold or delay certain projects. So
I think overall this is definitely a good thing, and it's good that they're getting on this, like, just from the onset of this sort of like this realization that AI can and will most definitely be used in order to create high quality voice acting material. As much as people like to, I mean, I guess you could delude yourself into thinking that a real voice actor is irreplaceable in a sense. Mm-hmm. But if you've been following like the course trajectory of AI, it's pretty obvious that at some point in the 99th percentile range, an AI is going to be able to replace you if you are a voice actor. So it's honestly, it's amazing that they're doing this from like the onset, as soon as like the realization has occurred, and they're working together in order to get like some sort of protections passed for this sector of the gaming industry. Especially since, I mean, shit, like I didn't even realize, even having like a cursory glance at all the studios that do have workers unions, it does seem to be the case that coming in the next like few years, it'll be a situation in which if you do work for a video games developer, it'll be a legitimate question where you can ask, like, is there a union or not, rather than automatically assuming from the jump that there is no union. There are going to be no protections for me. This is something that has been needed to happen for like a long time coming.
I think Blizzard just fully unionized, right?
I think it was Blizzard. I think it was also Bethesda had one of their studios unionized recently. So like this is definitely something that has sparked, obviously is a byproduct of the 2023 layoffs, 2023 moving into 2024 layoffs. Obviously this is a byproduct of that, because there is really absolutely no reason why you should be having such intense layoffs for companies that are seeing record profits, right? So yeah, I think overall, awesome. It's good to see, especially for an industry that has needed this to happen for a very, very long time.
Really quickly, I'm going to go over this because let's talk about a game that definitely doesn't have any AI voice actors in it. Armored Core 6. You guys hear about this game?
Yeah, you're late.
Yeah, this game flew pretty under the radar. Very niche title, Armored Core 6. No, of course I kid. Armored Core 6, pretty big when it came out, although not quite as big as other From Software releases for sure. I know, Crossley, you did not play this, right?
I have not, yeah.
Okay. Merced, you did one playthrough?
Yeah, just one.
Finished it? Yep. I need to get back to it. I haven't played in a couple days, but I did play a lot of it. According to Steam, my hour count is about 7 hours right now. Guys, I'm going to say something really controversial. Armored Core 6 is really good. I don't think people knew that. I think I needed to be the one to come in and confirm for everyone that Armored Core 6 is really good.
That's good. It's good to hear. Now I can have my opinion.
Yeah. You're allowed to like it.
Fuck yes.
Now that
I was
like
worried.
It.
I was deathly worried, actually. Isn't it just a video game though? It's just so, it just feels like a modern version of what I used to love playing on like the PS2 back in the day. That's truly what it feels like to me.
The PS2. Did you play Burnout Revenge on the PS2? I think
filled my belly with diet soda.
I think I just gotta say, I watched that clip again last night. And my favorite part of that is when he's like, play Burnout Revenge for the PS2, and Alan is like, no, I have to go to work. And he's like, suit yourself. And then he like scrambles off screen, but he like zigzags when he does it. And I really like the visual of him like scrambling away because it's like a fucking roach, like the way they run in like a non-linear fashion, like just very weird. And he's like, blah, 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 and just, it gets me every time. Everybody should watch Smiling Friends, especially the Alan episode.
He's a very good representation of that guy you do not want to hang out with and play video games with.
For sure, yeah. Because then when eventually they do hang out, all he's doing is just criticizing Alan for how much he sucks. He's like, wow, you're really bad at this game. You're shy. It's like you're not even playing. Yeah. Anyway, I love that there's actual footage. I saw a behind the scenes thing, like somebody on Twitter was saying, I'm the person who recorded the gameplay for this episode, and I didn't have a friend on hand at the time, so I just played one controller in each hand, like rested them on a table and like funny. Played both. It's quite good. Anyway, Armored Core is really good. The thing that gets me about that game is you're right, and then it's a video game, but it does a really good job. And I think this actually leans into what you're saying. Like, I think it does it intentionally because it's trying to distance you from just how horrible the shit that you're doing is, in a way that like they want you to feel like a unfeeling mercenary on a planet that isn't yours, just exploiting the resources and the people there for money. It's pretty exciting. You're just leaving like a hilariously huge body count in your wake, and nobody at any point references it. I love, my favorite part so far has been somehow you kill a bunch of people in these gigantic mech suits, and they always die, but they never scream. But the one time someone has screamed bloody murder has been when you're in that mission. You're in an ice like ravine, and you're killing a bunch of people. And you're in the middle of this huge fight, and all of a sudden a third party comes in out of nowhere with a gigantic fucking fuck off laser beam that they shoot down from a huge capital ship in the sky. And when that capital ship like sends down, this guy goes, "What the fuck? What are they doing here?" Like Gundam style, and they're all like dying horribly and they scream. And you just see a huge fucking gigantic laser beam just vaporize this dude, and it's pretty cool. But for some reason,
you get some sporadic moments like that throughout the entirety of the game, and to me they were pretty fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really good. They do a really good job of showing you just how little anyone gives a shit about anything that isn't giant robots in this universe, because like you're stomping around in huge cities, crushing cars, walking on buildings, leveling
like the size of 8-foot or 8-story buildings.
Exactly. Yeah. You're like leveling entire structures and no one cares. It's amazing. So yeah, I think I'm running shotgun and sword, and it is just so satisfying. Shotgun, sword, missiles on both shoulders. Just a really satisfying game to play. Super fun. It's making me kind of, I don't know if I'm going to play all the endings back to back, but it's definitely making me interested in seeing how difficult things get in the game before I'm like, I'm good. Because it stays relatively challenging the whole way through. Like, it's never a cakewalk, but it's never like you're banging your head against a wall. It's like somewhere in a comfortable middle ground. And because you'll die quick if you're not fucking on it. Like, especially
it's surprising. Yeah.
Like you will walk into an arena. It's like you bust into places like the Kool-Aid Man, you know what I mean? Like, you just kick in a door and you're like, what's up? And then like, if you don't know what to expect or you're not quick enough to recover, five mechs from 9 million miles away with laser sniper rifles will just vaporize you immediately, like shit like that. It's pretty cool. Or you'll like the very first fight against another armored core. I think I'm trying to remember where it is, but it's like a guy, there's like a story dialogue going on the whole time where he's like, Handler Walter got another fucking idiot to do his dirty work. I see. I'm going to put you down, boy, or whatever. And he's like talking shit at you the whole time. That guy will fuck you up instantly if you are not on your shit. It probably took me 3 or 4 tries. And I remember being like, walking in the very first time, like, hello, and he like jumps down and I'm like, what's your deal? And then he just kills me, and it like instantly like just walks up on me and blows me up, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's pretty cool. It's a cool game.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think the VAs in that game do honestly a great job in bringing these like mechs to life with like very, very strong personalities.
You never see a human being, by the way, not one. At least as far as I know. I mean, I haven't finished it, but you never. It's not like when they're talking, you like see a portrait of their face, like Gundam style or something. You do not see these motherfuckers. You have no idea what they look like.
It's like a floating head, basically, is what like you're hearing the whole time. It's just
yeah. It'll be an icon, like it'll be like their avatar. I love how they have like gamer tags. You know what I mean? Like all of them have like call signs and like gamer tags and stuff. So they're like, I am Vesper 7, Nightfire, or whatever. And you're like, all right, dude, whatever. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
I'm like imagining like Star Fox text box with the icon.
Yeah.
Did y'all play? Yeah,
but
like,
even
is it like that?
Mm-hmm.
But even in Star Fox, you see their face. Like they're like, it's like none of that. Like no face.
Okay, so it's just like
a picture. Okay. So it'll just be like their logo. So if they're Vesper 7, it'll be like Vesper 7 and then the Vesper symbol, and you just hear the voice. Yeah, and they have like all different kinds of guys. There's like every type of guy represented in that game. Like I just fought like a dude who was like a sniveling shitbag. You know what I mean? Like just meh. And then like when you get him down to load up, he's like, man, don't kill me. And then you get to choose. You get to choose if you kill him or not. And I was like, dude, you suck. So I killed him anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Good ass fucking video game, man. They should keep making these.
Yeah, you should definitely finish that.
I will. I will. And it's making me kind of, because it's the Sekiro team, right? Sekiro, excuse me.
I'm fairly positive, yeah.
It is.
It's never like a 1-to-1, right? Isn't it's like aren't they constantly moving people around on their teams?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm sure people shift around a lot. But yes, I mean I think when people say the blank team, they just kind of mean like the bulk of it is folks who worked on, whatever game or whatever, or the leadership of that particular project. That kind of thing. But yeah, it's making me interested in going back and trying out Sekiro again.
It's a great game. It's a good game.
Okay, well, no, I don't have much else to say. I did get my new mouse.
Yeah.
Oh, I just clicked something on accident, but yeah, there it is. It's extremely light, 30 grams. It has it has no software. You actually can't even install software if you wanted to, which is a little weird.
Oh, yeah, that is.
And it has a tiny screen on the bottom that tells me what my battery life.
Oh wow!
And my DPI and stuff is, and that's pretty cool.
Kind of them to put it on the bottom.
I know.
Did you ever figure out how to change the DPI to something that you desired, or is it literally just 4 different settings?
I don't think you can.
That is crazy.
So I think it's 4, 8, 16, 32, yeah, and then it's 64, and then it just keeps doubling until it gets to like 12,000, and then it's done. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. You'll get used to it, right?
So I just keep it at 1600, which feels good in navigating menus and desktops and stuff. And then in every game, I've just been changing the sensitivity until it feels right. I downloaded Aim Labs just to see how I'm doing. I suck. So there you go.
Yeah, but how's the mouse?
The mouse is great. Oh man, the clicks. That's the main thing about this mouse. The clicks are just very responsive, which is kind of the thing that you realize when you've had, like my last mouse I had for 5 years, it was a Logitech G7 G705 Lightspeed. Is that right? Yeah. Sorry, G703 Lightspeed is what I had before. Yeah, great mouse. Had it for 5 years. Really liked it. It was starting to feel a little mushy in general, which was a bummer. But the main thing that was nice about it, that I liked, was that it was wireless and it didn't use very much battery at all. If you turned off all the LEDs on it, which you should, because fuck that shit. This carries that through. I think it feels really good. But the right click on that G703 had for sure broken. Like it was like we were playing Ready or Not one day, and if I'm holding it down, it would constantly let go and go into the aim down sights.
Yeah, it's over.
Nothing drives me more crazy than that shit. I tried blowing it out with compressed air, didn't do anything. So there you go. That was it. But yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that we should play Ready or Not.
We should. People were posting on fucking V the new map stuff, and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to play that.
Let's get in there. ACAB, except for me when I want to play video games. Nah, just kidding. Just kidding. I don't support cops, but they are fun. It's fun to pretend, you know. Just
I
like
donate to my local police station.
There you go. Yeah. Just like how it's fun to pretend to be in a war, and it's not fun to be in a war at all. It turns out it's really fun to protect and serve very poorly. So yeah. Especially Merced, who's so fucking jumpy on the trigger that he kills just about every civilian we can.
That's why I respect our police officers, bro. I can't imagine. I would also shoot random dogs. I would do the same. I'm that guy. It's just a good thing I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's why it's good that we've given you no power as a society.
Yeah, you should keep me that way. Just keep me on the video games and the movies.
Yeah, word.
And I'll do good. I promise.
He's reformed. Anything else? Or are we good?
I think that's about it, right? We played some finals over the week, and
Crossley, we haven't heard from you in a while.
I saw Deadpool. It was really good.
Cool.
Yep.
Worth the money?
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't watch the last one, so.
Oh, I do want to say this. They had a fucking super dank trailer for the new Alien.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alien Romulus?
So fucking good. Yeah, this might be the best Alien movie. Like, I'm sorry if that's like
No.
A weird thing to say, but this looks so fucking good.
I mean, when you say the best Alien movie, you mean that it's the best Alien movie other than the first one? Then sure, yeah, I agree with you.
Good for its time. It's okay.
This guy. Yeah. So for those who don't know, the new Alien movie looks so good because it's produced by Ridley Scott, but it's the first one that's directed by. Well, sorry, the first newer one, because obviously Alien 3 and then Alien Resurrection were not developed or directed by Ridley Scott. Alien 3 famously directed by David Fincher, who we all know and love. It was his first first Hollywood movie, and he described the experience as quote unquote fucking unbearable. So because of Fox Studios meddling in his vision. Anyway, Alien Romulus, Fede Alvarez, relatively newer director, primarily a horror director.
I like his stuff too.
Yeah. I should say, he primarily writes and directs everything that he does.
Okay.
He also wrote Alien Romulus, from what I understand, and Ridley Scott liked it, so he jumped on that. He did the Evil Dead remake, which people have mostly good things to say
movie.
about that. I kind of enjoyed it as well. He also did Don't Breathe, which a lot of people like. I did not actually watch that.
Dude, so fucking good.
I have not seen that.
It is one of my favorite thrillers, if not like maybe my favorite. Don't Breathe is crazy good.
From what I understand, they made a sequel to that, right?
They did. I don't think it's by the same guy, and I don't think it's good. From what I've heard, I haven't seen it, but just from what I've heard, not very good.
Okay, gotcha. I was kind of curious. Anyway, Alien Romulus looks fucking amazing. I think it's really cool when they take these old properties and give them to new people who have good ideas. And especially for a sequel, not for like a remake. Although it does, kind of remind you. It does seem like a spiritual.
And that's kind of how I feel about Alien movies, almost in general. They kind of have their things that they do.
Yeah.
Almost like kind of similar to Star Wars, honestly. Like they kind of have a plan and a story that is going to happen almost innately with Alien. And this, I guess, isn't always true, but like I kind of feel like I know what to expect when I go into an Alien movie, and they might subvert my expectations here or there, but more or less I know the foundation of an Alien movie. And from the trailer, I feel like I understand what I'm in for. It's just, it looks really well directed and well shot. Yeah. And it looks like the vibes are like the creepiest they've been in a long time for like an Alien movie, for me at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I mean, most importantly, they're going back to one alien, it seems like, or who knows. But in the trailer, they set it up as basically the same story as the first one, like a bunch of people on a ship, alien gets loose, there you go. Instead of like Aliens style where it's a bunch of aliens running around, causing chaos. Cool. Looks really cool. Honestly, I'm gonna. I don't know that I'll get to see it in theaters because Jennifer does not like horror movies, but hopefully so. I still have not seen Long Legs either, but I would like to.
I have also
Long Legs is definitely on my list. I'm just waiting for a good rip of that one. Need me a high quality. But yeah.
You guys want to play Ready or Not?
Yeah, I'm down.
Crossley's hesitant.
I don't know if I'll be able to.
Oh,
no,
okay.
It's a matter of ability.
You're out of time?
No, mine doesn't work.
We'll
have to
fix it.
reinstall at the very least, so that's like a huge chunk of time.
Word. We'll see if we can fix it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Peace.
See ya.